Okay, so we're going to be talking about solving two-step. Objective is I can solve two-step equations using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So the steps in order to solve two-step equations. Number one says add or subtract to isolate the variable term. Okay, so that'll be the first thing you need to do. And then number two is to multiply or divide to solve the variable. So let's apply those two steps in our first example. So our first example says solve 2x plus 4 equals 6. So our goal for solving these equations is always to get the x, or the variable, by itself. And we're going to do that by following those two steps. So the first thing I want to do is I want to draw a line down my equal sign. My left and my right hand side, and help me keep organized. So let's go ahead and apply the first step. It says add or subtract to isolate the variable term. Well, the variable term is the term that has the x, so that would be the 2x. So in order to get that 2x by itself, we need to move the 4. Now that's the constant that we're going to be moving over. So add or subtract. Well, right now it's a plus 4. So to move it to the other side, we have to minus 4. Now, you're going to be minusing 4 to both sides, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side to keep balanced. This positive 4, negative 4 cancels out. What I have left on the left side is 2x equals, and then 6 minus 4 is 2. So step 1 is done. We added or subtracted to isolate the variable term. So now that 2x is by itself. Now the second step is to multiply or divide to solve for the variable. So my goal is to get the x by itself. Right now that says 2 times x. So the opposite of times is to divide. So I need to divide both sides by 2. These 2's next to the x cancel out. So you're left with just x is equal to 2 divided by 2 is 1. I am done. Okay, let's do another example. Now we're not going to check the work, okay? But we're just going to actually just solve for x using those two steps. If you want to check your work, you're more than welcome to. Maybe one of these I will end up doing. So solve the equation, check your solution. So we have negative 3x. Things first, I want to draw my line down the equal. Okay, so step 1 is to add or subtract to isolate the variable term. So this constant, this negative 3, I need to move that first. That's a negative 3 or a minus 3, so the opposite is to add 3 to both sides. Add 3 to the 12 is because 12 and 3 are like terms, they're just numbers. So these 3 cancel. So I'm left with negative 3x. Forget about this mistake, so you got to bring that down. Negative 3x equals 12 plus 3. Now, step 2 was to multiply or divide to get the x by itself. So in this case, it starts off and it's negative 3 times x. So the opposite of times is to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Don't forget about that negative. Those negative 3's cancel, and you have x is equal to 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. You can use your calculators if you need help with multiplying or dividing, okay? Let's move on. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the problem below so we have more room to work it. And then this one we're actually I'll show you guys how to check it. 37 equals x divided by 4 plus 9. First things first, draw my line down the equal sign. Now remember my goal, and I'll highlight it for you, my goal is to get this x by itself. So the first thing I need to do is I need to add or subtract to get that variable term by itself. So in this case, I need to move over the positive 9. So the opposite of a plus 9 is a minus 9. So I'm going to minus 9 to both sides. Now remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Those 9s cancel. X over 4 still left. And then 37 minus 9 is 28. Now, second step is to multiply or divide to get my variable by itself. In this case, it's x divided by 4. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. These 4's cancel, and you're left with x is equal to 4 times 28. Grab a calculator if you need it, 112. Okay, moving on. Actually, let's go ahead and check this one. So, my original problem, now, instead of x, I'm going to put what I got for x, which was 100. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to put this into the calculator. If that is equal to 37, then we know that we got it right. Okay? So, 37 equals, now grab your calculator, and in your calculator, you're going to do 112 divided by 4, and you should get 28 for that, plus 9. 28 plus 9 is 37. 37 is equal to 37. This is good. So, if you want to check your work, you're more than welcome to. Okay, next example. Number 3. I have my line down the equal sign. So, first things first, I want to add or subtract to isolate the variable term. So my variable term is 2x. So how do I isolate that or get it by itself? Well, I got to get rid of that positive 3. The opposite of plus 3 is a negative. Those 3's cancel. 2x equals 12. Now, second step is to multiply or divide to get the variable by itself. In this case, it's 2 times x, so the opposite of times is to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. These 2's cancel. X is equal to 6. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Let's go ahead and skip to number 5, and then I'll do a word problem really quick. So, is x equals 8 a solution to x divided by 2 minus 7 equals 3? Well, the way that we're going to figure it out is we're just going to take this x equals 8, and we're going to plug it in for x, and then we'll solve. So, 8 divided by 2 minus 7 equals 3. Now, grab a calculator. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 minus 7, is that equal to 3? Well, in your calculator, 4 minus 7 is negative 3. So, is negative 3 equal to 3? No, this is false. Okay, word problems. One word problem. That should be good enough. So, it says an example. Stefan rented a bike from Jose's Bikes. It cost $13 for an insurance, highlight it, plus $3 per hour. That's important, like that. If Stefan paid $31 total, super important, then he rented the bike for how many hours? So our goal is to figure out how many hours did he rent the bike. So we will always give you guys this relate portion. It kind of sets up the problem for you. So it says cost for insurance plus cost per hour times the number of hours equals the total amount paid. So what you'll notice if when we read the original problem, a lot of that information we found in the problem. So that's what we're going to do, is we're just going to plug in that information into this relate portion. So our goal is to figure out how many hours did the bike. So that is going to be our variable. number of hours is what we're looking for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this relate part and we're going to fill in what we know. So cost of insurance, do we know that? Yes, we found that up there. It says it costs $13 for insurance. So I'm going to start with 13 plus cost per hour. Do I know that? Yes, it's $3 per hour. Times number of hours? No, that's what we're looking for. So we're going to put an X there. And then equals total amount paid. Well, we know we paid $31. Okay, so now if you want to, I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and I'm going to put here because I ran out of room. So 13 plus 3x. Now remember, 3 times x, better way to write it in algebra is 3x equals 31. Now, line down the equal sign. Let's solve this. Remember, our goal first is to add or subtract to isolate the variable term. So I need to get rid of that plus 13 minus 13 both sides. Now remember, if you don't feel confident with your adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing, make sure you use a calculator. 31 minus 13 is 18. So 30x equals 18. Now, last step is to either multiply or divide. In this case, we're going to divide because it's originally multiplication. Cross out, x equals 6. So, how long did Stefan rent the bike for? 6 hours. Final answer. Okay, that's it. Have a good day and make sure you guys get your work done.